Fatma Naib, a filmmaker and journalist who has extensively covered the practice of female genital mutilation. Fatma, good to have you with us. I know that you're originally from Eritrea. You didn't grow up there, you haven't undergone FGM, but you clearly have memories of girls who have been cut, and that has affected you very deeply.
Thank you for having me. Yes, through my work, I've come to meet many women survivors who've been dealing with FGM, and after speaking to them, you realize that it's bigger than I first realized, and it's a global issue. It's something that happens not just in the African continent, like you could see in the package. It happens in Asia, it's also happening in Europe, but it's important to realize that it's a global issue, and it's a human rights issue affecting women and girls as young as a week old, depending which culture you belong to. So yeah.
And it's been globally criticised. The UN has spoken out against it. It is banned in many countries, and yet it is still deeply rooted in many cultures. Why is that? It has no health benefits. Why is it so difficult to get rid of?
It's really difficult to get rid of because there are so many misconceptions surrounding it. In some communities, they think that it's due to religion. So some people actually believe that it's their religious obligation to do it. And whether in other cultures, it's connected to their culture. For example, in Kenya, they have this passage where when you go through FGM, it means that you're a woman, and it affects the young girls, because once they become a woman, it means they can't continue with their education and they can't continue with making something of their life. So you have to tackle these misconceptions, and I believe that you can only do it if you involve the communities, because they are the ones that can tell us.
Yeah. And I mean, what astonishes me is that this is females doing this terrible thing to other females. What will it take to get rid of this from communities?
They have to get involved, and we can't find like one solution for this problem. You have to look at it from every culture. Every country will have its own reasons. So one of the most important things that needs to be done today is involve the communities, involve the survivors, involve the activists that come from there, because there's quite a lot of NGOs, a lot of charities that are doing a great job, but what they need to do more of, and some are already doing this, but they need to do more of, involve the communities, because they are the ones that have the answers. They are the ones that have the aunties, the grandmothers who are driving this. And in some cultures, the men are also driving it, but everyone needs to get involved, and we need to do a lot of listening and engagement, direct engagement with the communities. And we have to go all the way to the villages. It's not enough to go to the cities and engage with the people there. You have to go everywhere, because it happens everywhere, including here in Europe.
Yeah, you were talking about Africa and Asia there. You've just mentioned Europe. I mean, do we know how widespread it is? Do we know how many girls have been affected?
There is data, for example, in the UK and in the US. In Sweden, not so much. So we can't really have like exact number, because it's done in secrecy. For example, in the UK, what I know is a lot of young girls between the age of 8 and 11, they tend to take them home for holiday to have it done. So, and when you come back, you don't talk about it. And there is, unless you go to the gynecologist, which is uncommon for young girls, no one is going to discover it. And these things are always uncovered at a later age. So we don't really have the exact numbers, but it is happening, and more needs to be done. And it's very difficult because it's done in secrecy. Yeah.
Fatma, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us about this. Fatma Naib there in Stockholm.